Today we're jumping into, well, a really tough part of history. The 1626 Kalinago massacre on St. Kitts.
Liamuiga, as the Kalinago called it. And yeah, it's an event scholars now pretty clearly classify as genocide.
Okay, so set the scene a bit. Why St. Kitts?
Well, it was seen as incredibly fertile, really strategic, perfect for sugar, which was, about to become the big thing in the Caribbean economy.
Which explains why settlement happened so fast, right?
Exactly. You had the English under Sir Thomas Warner landing in 1623, then bam, the French with Desnambuc in 1625.
Two major powers right on top of each other, needing land.
And that land was already occupied. This immediately created serious friction with people living there.
The Kalinago. And our sources, they don't paint them as just passive victims waiting to be colonized.
No, not at all. They were known as skilled warriors, really master seafarers. They dominated the Lesser Antilles.
And they moved between islands.
Oh, yeah. Using these amazing ocean-going canoes. Some were made from huge trees like the Ceiba pentandra. They weren't isolated. They were connected, organized, a real force.
Which I imagine made them a direct obstacle to the colonists' plans for, well, total control.
Precisely. So the colonists needed a justification for violence. The official story was self-defense.
Ah, the alleged plot.
Right. They claimed the Kalinago leader, Ubuto Tegramonte, was planning this big attack on the settlers. And supposedly a Kalinago woman, Barbe, revealed it.
But when you look at it critically now...
It looks pretty flimsy, like a thinly veiled pretext, as scholars put it. The real driver wasn't fear, it seems, but an ideological decision. Meaning the goal was extermination to, quote, completely take over the island. The Kalinago themselves were seen as the problem to be removed, physically removed.
And the violence that followed, it wasn't random skirmishes, it was systematic.
Very. And coordinated between the English and French, which is interesting given they were rivals everywhere else.
So how did it unfold?
Two main phases. First, deception. They threw a party, invited the Kalinago, plied them with alcohol.
Intentionally got them drunk.
Yes. Then attacked them in their sleep. Killed about 120, including Tegramonte himself.
Horrific, but that wasn't even the main event.
No, that was phase two. The next day, they rounded up the survivors, maybe around 4,000 people.
4,000.
Yeah, and forced them towards one area. It's now known, chillingly, as Bloody Point and Bloody River.
I'm there.
There they massacred them. The estimates are around 2,000 killed, maybe more. Accounts just speak of piles of bodies. It was slaughter on a mass scale.
Which brings us back to that term, genocide, applying a 1948 UN definition to a 1626 event. How does that work?
Well, you look at the criteria. You need the act itself, the physical element, and you need the intent, the mental element.
Okay, the act seems clear. Killing over 2,000 members of a group.
Exactly. That clearly fits. And the intent, the motivation to completely take over the island by eliminating the group on that island, that shows the intent to destroy the group, at least in that specific territory, as a distinct entity.
So it wasn't just about winning a battle, it was about erasure.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this wasn't, unique to St. Kitts. Our sources talk about a shared blueprint.
Like what happened in Virginia.
Yeah. The 1622 Powhatan events are often compared, using supposed resistance, real or invented, as the excuse for basically total war and extermination. It was a known colonial playbook, unfortunately.
So what happened to the survivors on St. Kitts after the massacre?
The remaining Kalinago, the ones who escaped or weren't killed initially, were eventually forcibly removed. By 1640, they were pushed off St. Kitts, mainly to Dominica.
But importantly, they weren't wiped out entirely.
Absolutely not. And that's crucial. There was immense resilience. Today, about 2,000 descendants live in the Kalinago territory on Dominica, a recognized space, 3,700 acres.
So the final takeaway here seems clear. This 1626 event wasn't just a battle, it was, by modern standards, a deliberate act of colonial genocide.
Yes, driven by land, by economics, and by an ideology that saw indigenous people as disposable obstacles.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, the listener. Think about how often we hear narratives of indigenous extinction in the Caribbean.
Right. It's a common but inaccurate picture. Consider this. How does that narrative of extinction maybe serve to, unintentionally or not, complete the work of the original genocide by erasing the ongoing survival, the resilience, and the living presence of the Kalinago people today? It's something to really reflect on.